There's a dark side to psychology. What if manipulation wasn't just a concept, but a powerful tool hidden in plain sight? Step into the Manipulation Enigma, the forbidden book that reveals the secrets of control. Explore the depths of influence and discover how to wield this power. Unlock the enigma and see the world through a different lens. Dare to delve into the unknown. Dare to master the Manipulation Enigma. Welcome back to Audiobook Vision. Today we will dive into the Manipulation Enigma, the secrets of forbidden psychology. Before we start, don't forget like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Dark Side of Human Psychology. Human behavior has long been a subject of fascination and study, revealing the intricate layers of the mind that govern actions, motivations, and relationships. While much of psychology seeks to understand and promote well-being, there exists a darker facet of this discipline: manipulation. This chapter serves as an introduction to the intricate dynamics of manipulation in human behavior and highlights the emerging field of forbidden psychology. Alongside these topics, we will address essential ethical considerations and the profound societal impacts that accompany the exploration of the darker aspects of human nature. Overview of manipulation in human behavior. Manipulation can be defined as the strategic influence exerted over the thoughts, emotions, and decisions of others, often without their conscious awareness. This phenomenon occurs in various contexts, from personal relationships to corporate strategies and political campaigns. At its core, manipulation can be both benign and malevolent. It may manifest as persuasion, coercion, or outright deceit. An understanding of manipulation requires delving into the fundamental psychological principles that underpin human interactions. Cognitive biases, social influence, and emotional triggers all contribute to individuals' susceptibility to manipulation. For example, the principle of reciprocity, a social norm where individuals feel obligated to return favors, can be exploited to gain advantage or control over others. Similarly, the scarcity principle, which suggests that people are more attracted to what seems limited or rare, can effectively manipulate desires and decisions. While manipulation is often viewed negatively, it is crucial to recognize its ambiguous nature. The same skills that can lead to harmful manipulation can also be utilized for positive influence, such as motivating others, inspiring change, or negotiating solutions. As we navigate this complex terrain, the consequences of manipulation must be examined thoroughly, shedding light on both its potential benefits and its perilous pitfalls. Brief introduction to forbidden psychology and its relevance. Forbidden psychology refers to the study of psychological principles and techniques that delve into the unethical or controversial realms of human behavior. These may include areas such as mind control, psychological warfare, and the darker elements of influence that are often overlooked in conventional psychology. The relevance of forbidden psychology in today's society cannot be overstated. In an age characterized by rapidly advancing technology and pervasive information sharing, understanding the methods and motivations behind manipulation is more important than ever. From social media algorithms shaping public perception to psychological tactics employed in advertising, the principles of forbidden psychology provide critical insights into the power dynamics at play. Moreover, awareness of forbidden psychology can empower individuals to recognize manipulation in their lives, fostering critical thinking and resilience against undue influence. In an era marked by the proliferation of misinformation, the insights gained from studying these darker psychological aspects can serve as a buffer against exploitation and control. Ethical considerations and societal impact. The exploration of manipulation and forbidden psychology brings with it a host of ethical considerations. As researchers and practitioners delve into the mechanics of influence and control, they must grapple with questions about the morality of their work. What lines should be drawn when it comes to leveraging psychological insights for personal or commercial gain? Do ends justify means when intervening with individuals' free will? And can the knowledge of these techniques be responsibly shared without promoting harm? Ethical frameworks arise as essential guiding principles in navigating these treacherous waters. Ensuring informed consent, promoting transparency, and prioritizing the well-being of individuals are paramount considerations. Moreover, education about manipulation and forbidden psychology should aim to empower, rather than exploit, fostering resilience and awareness within society. The societal impact of manipulation is profound. While it can serve as a tool for advancement, awareness, or beneficial outcomes, its darker uses can lead to harmful consequences, such as emotional trauma, societal polarization, and a breakdown of trust. Understanding manipulation's prevalence and ramifications can assist in building a more ethical framework for interpersonal interactions and societal structures. In conclusion, the dark side of human psychology is a multifaceted domain that encompasses both manipulation and forbidden psychology. By examining these concepts, we gain valuable insights into human behavior and the intricate motivations behind our interactions. However, as we probe into these darker elements, we must maintain a commitment to ethical considerations and remain aware of the far-reaching societal implications. Through this balance, we can explore the depths of human psychology while fostering a more conscious and informed society. Chapter 2: The Psychology Behind Manipulation. Manipulation is a complex psychological phenomenon that transcends mere interaction and delves deeply into the cognitive and emotional foundations of human behavior. At the heart of effective manipulation lies an intricate understanding of human psychology, particularly how emotions and beliefs can be influenced and altered. In this chapter, we will explore the psychological mechanisms that underpin manipulation, focusing on the cognitive and emotional aspects, the techniques employed to target beliefs and feelings, and the critical role of mental conditioning. Cognitive and emotional foundations of manipulation. To comprehend manipulation, it's essential to recognize its dual cognitive and emotional architecture. The cognitive aspects relate to how individuals think, process information, and make judgments, while emotional foundations pertain to the feelings that can be evoked and exploited. Manipulators are adept at recognizing vulnerabilities within these domains. Cognitive foundations. Cognition plays a pivotal role in manipulation. People often have biases and logical fallacies that can be exploited. Confirmation bias, for instance, leads individuals to favor information that aligns with their pre-existing beliefs while disregarding contradictory evidence. Manipulators can present information in a way that reinforces these biases, making their arguments more persuasive. Another cognitive element is the concept of cognitive dissonance. When individuals hold conflicting ideas or beliefs, they experience discomfort, which they are motivated to alleviate. Manipulators can exploit this by introducing new information or reframing situations, thus leading individuals to align their beliefs with the manipulator's objectives. Emotional foundations. On the emotional side, manipulation thrives on the ability to evoke specific feelings. Fear, guilt, love, and empathy are potent tools in a manipulator's arsenal. By eliciting an emotional response, manipulators can cloud logical reasoning and prompt individuals to act in ways they might not otherwise consider. For instance, guilt can be a powerful motivator. Manipulative individuals may make others feel responsible for their emotional state to elicit compliance or support. Furthermore, understanding emotional triggers is crucial. Effective manipulators are often keen observers of how people express and respond to emotions, allowing them to tailor their tactics accordingly. This sensitivity to emotional dynamics can create a sense of intimacy or connection, solidifying the manipulator's influence over the target. How psychological manipulation targets emotions and beliefs. Once the foundations of cognitive and emotional psychology are grasped, the specific methods of psychological manipulation can be examined. These techniques often revolve around targeting deeply seated beliefs and emotions. Techniques of influence. 1. Appeal to emotion. Manipulators often use emotionally charged language or situations to create a visceral response. Advertisements, political rhetoric, and even interpersonal relationships can be laced with emotional appeals that skew rational decision-making. 2. Gaslighting. This insidious tactic involves causing someone to question their reality or beliefs. By denying the truth, presenting false information, or minimizing the other person's feelings, manipulators can undermine confidence and reinforce their control. 3. Loading questions. By framing questions to elicit specific emotional responses or beliefs, manipulators guide the narrative. For example, asking, "Why do you think your coworkers are upset with you?" can create guilt and defensiveness, leading to compliance. 4. Scarcity and urgency. Creating a sense of scarcity or urgency can trigger fear of loss, compelling individuals to act quickly and often irrationally. This technique plays on the emotional reaction to potential loss or missed opportunity. 5. Repetition and reinforcement. By repeatedly presenting ideas or beliefs, manipulators can normalize them. This concept aligns with cognitive conditioning, where individuals become accustomed to specific thoughts or feelings through persistent exposure. The role of mental conditioning. Mental conditioning is a critical aspect of manipulation, as it lays the groundwork for how people internalize beliefs and emotional responses. This process involves the consistent and deliberate association of certain ideas, feelings, or actions to specific stimuli. Classical and operant conditioning. Manipulators often employ principles of classical and operant conditioning to shape behavior. Classical conditioning occurs when an emotional response is elicited by associating a neutral stimulus with a significant emotional event. For example, if a person always hears a specific phrase when they are praised, they may begin to feel positive emotions whenever they hear that phrase, regardless of the situation. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, involves reinforcing desired behaviors through rewards or punishments. Manipulators may promote certain responses by providing positive reinforcement when the target complies, thus conditioning them to seek the reward in future interactions. Social influence and groupthink. Moreover, social dynamics play a substantial role in mental conditioning. People are often influenced by group norms and the desire for acceptance. Manipulators can exploit this inclination by fostering groupthink, wherein individuals prioritize harmony over critical analysis. This environment can lead to complacency and conformity, rendering individuals more susceptible to manipulation. The psychology behind manipulation is a rich and multifaceted domain that intricately weaves together cognitive processes, emotional triggers, and conditioning techniques. By delving into these psychological underpinnings, one can better understand not only how manipulation occurs, but also how to recognize and safeguard against it. Awareness is the first step towards empowerment, allowing individuals to challenge the influence of manipulators and retain control over their beliefs and emotions. Understanding the triggers and techniques of manipulation can foster resilience and promote healthier relational dynamics in both personal and professional spheres. Chapter 3. Tactics of Covert Manipulation. In today's increasingly complex social landscape, the art of manipulation has evolved into sophisticated techniques that operate beneath the radar of everyday awareness. Covert manipulation, often designed to subtly influence emotions and perceptions, can have profound effects on relationships, workplaces, and broader social interactions. In this chapter, we will explore the subtle psychological manipulation techniques that can shape behaviors and beliefs, offering insights into common tactics such as gaslighting, love bombing, and mirroring. Through real-world examples, we aim to equip readers with the knowledge to recognize and safeguard against these tactics. Identifying subtle psychological manipulation techniques. Covert manipulation operates in the shadows, often going unnoticed by its targets. A fundamental aspect of identifying these tactics is understanding their psychological underpinnings. Manipulators typically exploit vulnerabilities in human emotions, such as fear, guilt, or desire for connection, to achieve their goals. Key characteristics of covert manipulation include: 1. Subtlety. Unlike overt manipulation, which is obvious and aggressive, covert tactics are often discreet and insidious. 2. Emotional influence. These tactics frequently exploit emotional triggers, making it vital to focus on feelings and perceptions rather than overt actions. 3. Power dynamics. Manipulation often hinges on an imbalance of power, where the manipulator holds a position of authority or influence over the target. Understanding these characteristics lays the groundwork for identifying specific techniques commonly employed in covert manipulation. Common tactics: gaslighting, love bombing, and mirroring. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation tactic aimed at making a person doubt their own perceptions and reality. Originating from the 1938 play Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into believing she's losing her sanity, this tactic can manifest in various ways. Denial of facts. A manipulator may explicitly deny things they have said or done, even in the face of evidence. Twisting memories. By altering the narrative or insisting that events occurred differently, the manipulator erodes the victim's confidence, creating confusion. Consistent inconsistency can leave the victim disoriented and uncertain. Real-world example. Consider an employee who regularly receives negative feedback for their work. The manager might claim to be supportive, denying that they ever said anything negative. Over time, the employee starts to question their abilities and perceptions of their performance, leading them to become increasingly dependent on the manager's version of reality. Love bombing. Love bombing is a tactic often used in romantic contexts, where one person showers another with excessive affection, attention, and gifts to create a sense of obligation or dependency. This can often lead to a subsequent shift in behavior once the target is emotionally invested. Over-the-top affection. Expressions of love and admiration are frequent and intense, creating an illusion of an ideal relationship. Future faking. Promises of a future together are made to further entrap the victim emotionally. Isolation. Once emotionally dependent, the manipulator may encourage distancing from friends or family. Real-world example. A new romantic partner may initially flood their love interest with compliments, surprise gifts, and constant communication, creating an intoxicating whirlwind of affection. Once the target feels a deep emotional bond, the manipulator may begin to exhibit controlling behaviors, effectively shifting the power dynamic in the relationship. Mirroring. Mirroring involves mimicking the behaviors, attitudes, and emotions of another person to build rapport and trust. While it can occur naturally in healthy relationships, it can also be used deceitfully for manipulation. Reflection of values. The manipulator presents themselves as having similar interests or values, making the target feel understood and connected. Physical mimicry. Subtle gestures like posture, speech patterns, or facial expressions are copied to foster a sense of familiarity. Emotional resonance. By reflecting the target's emotional state, the manipulator evokes comfort and trust. Real-world example. In a social setting, someone may adopt the same speech patterns, interests, and even body language as an individual they wish to befriend or influence. This instant connection can create a false sense of intimacy, leading the target to lower their guard and become more susceptible to the manipulator's suggestions. The tactics of covert manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, and mirroring serve as a reminder of the intricate ways in which psychological influence can be exerted in our lives. By understanding these techniques, individuals can become more vigilant and discerning in their interactions. Knowledge is a powerful defense against manipulation, helping to nurture healthier relationships built on mutual respect and authenticity. As we continue to explore the layers of human interaction, let us remain aware of the subtle dynamics at play and strive for genuine connection rather than falling prey to covert tactics that seek to control or deceive. Chapter 4. The Puppet Master. Narcissists and Manipulation. Narcissism, often romanticized in popular culture, can manifest in dangerous ways. At the heart of the narcissistic personality is a profound need for control, which can lead to the manipulation of those around them. This chapter delves into the intricate web of deceit, emotional subjugation, and covert coercion that narcissists employ to dominate their victims. How narcissists control and manipulate their victims. Narcissists are often seen as charismatic and charming, drawing people in with their confidence and self-assuredness. However, beneath this superficial allure lies a complex strategy of control and manipulation designed to ensure that their needs and desires remain at the forefront. One common tactic is gaslighting, an insidious technique where the narcissist causes their victim to question their own perceptions, memories, or sanity. By denying reality and presenting false information, the narcissist creates a sense of confusion and dependency within the victim. This psychological disorientation leads the victim to doubt their own judgment, effectively putting the narcissist in the position of authority over how events are perceived. Another method of control is isolation. Narcissists may actively attempt to sever their victims from support systems, such as friends and family, who could offer a counterbalance to the manipulation. By fostering a sense of dependency, narcissists position themselves as the sole source of validation, making it impossible for the victim to escape the cycle of control. Breadcrumbing and love bombing. Narcissistic manipulators also employ tactics like love bombing, where they overwhelm their targets with attention, compliments, and affection at the beginning of a relationship. The overwhelming nature of this attention creates a bond that is difficult for the victim to resist during later periods of neglect or emotional withdrawal, an exasperating push-and-pull dynamic that creates confusion and dependency. Additionally, narcissists often practice breadcrumbing, where they give sporadic, small amounts of affection or validation to keep their victims emotionally invested, even while they withhold genuine emotional connection. This intermittent reinforcement keeps their victims in a state of unease, constantly craving reassurance and validation, a cruel trick that ensures ongoing control. Traits of narcissistic manipulators. Understanding the traits of narcissistic manipulators can help identify their behavior, thereby mitigating their impact. Some of the core characteristics include: 1. Self-absorption. Narcissists are predominantly focused on themselves, exhibiting an inflated sense of their own importance, talents, or achievements. This self-centeredness often translates into a lack of empathy for others and can lead them to view relationships as tools to fulfill their own needs. 2. Entitlement. A strong sense of entitlement drives narcissistic behavior. They genuinely believe they deserve special treatment or recognition, which can lead them to exploit others without guilt. 3. Superficial charm. Many narcissists can be incredibly charming and engaging, making it easy for them to form relationships that are laden with manipulation. Their charisma often masks their darker tendencies, allowing them to temporarily disarm their victims. 4. Lack of accountability. When things go awry, narcissists typically refuse to accept responsibility. They'll rationalize their behavior, deflect blame, or even accuse the victim of being the problem, reinforcing the cycle of confusion and doubt. 5. Emotional volatility. Narcissists are often capable of explosive reactions when their self-image is threatened. This volatility can induce fear and trepidation in their victims, prompting them to alter their behavior to suit the narcissist's moods. Psychological effects on their targets. The emotional toll on individuals targeted by narcissistic manipulation can be profound and long-lasting. Victims often experience a range of psychological effects, including self-doubt. Prolonged exposure to gaslighting and manipulation can leave victims questioning their self-worth, perceptions, and memories. This self-doubt can cascade into larger issues concerning identity, anxiety, and depression. The constant emotional strain of navigating a narcissistic relationship can lead to chronic anxiety, feelings of hopelessness, and symptoms of depression. Victims may feel trapped and powerless, further compounding their emotional turmoil. Post-traumatic stress. In extreme circumstances, victims may experience symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Flashbacks, severe anxiety, and emotional disconnection can become common as they process their experiences. Difficulty in future relationships. The manipulation and betrayal experienced at the hands of a narcissist can create barriers to forming healthy future relationships. Trust issues may arise, making it challenging to engage fully with others. The dynamics of narcissistic manipulation expose the intricate power play that characterizes such relationships. By recognizing the tactics employed by narcissists and the traits that distinguish them, individuals can begin to reclaim their autonomy, validate their experiences, and work toward emotional healing. Awareness and education will be vital allies in navigating the complexities of narcissistic manipulation, allowing the light to break through the shadows cast by the puppet masters. Chapter 5. Emotional Manipulation, the Heart's Weakness. In the intricate tapestry of human relationships, emotions hold a central place. They guide our decisions, shape our perceptions, and ultimately define our connections with others. However, this profound capacity for emotional experience also renders us vulnerable. Emotional manipulators exploit this vulnerability to control and dominate, using our feelings against us. This chapter delves into the mechanics of emotional manipulation, highlighting how manipulators exploit emotions, the persuasive power of emotional appeal, and how individuals can identify and navigate emotional traps. How manipulators exploit emotions to control others. At the heart of emotional manipulation lies the ability to delve deep into the human psyche. Manipulators are often skilled at reading the emotions of those around them, using this insight to gain power and control. This exploitation can take various forms, from guilt-tripping to gaslighting, and can manifest in personal relationships, workplace dynamics, and even broader societal structures. Guilt and obligation. One common tactic employed by manipulators is the use of guilt, creating a sense of obligation in their target. For instance, they may recount sacrifices they've made or express disappointment, prompting the other person to act out of a sense of duty or guilt. This emotional leverage shifts the dynamic, positioning the manipulator as a victim while simultaneously coercing the other person into compliance. Fear and insecurity. Fear is another potent weapon in the arsenal of emotional manipulators. By exploiting insecurities or fears, whether real or perceived, they create a climate of anxiety and uncertainty. For example, a manipulative partner might threaten to leave or imply that others will think less of their partner if they don't conform to certain demands. This tactic not only solidifies the manipulator's control, but also fosters a dependent relationship where the victim feels compelled to appease the manipulator for fear of loss or judgment. Love and affection. On a more subtle, yet equally damaging level, manipulators often wield love and affection as tools for control. By oscillating between love and withdrawal, they create confusion and desperation within their target. This push-pull dynamic, commonly referred to as love bombing followed by devaluation, can destroy an individual's self-esteem, making them perpetually eager to earn affection and validation from the manipulator. The power of emotional appeal and manipulation. Emotional appeal is a fundamental component of manipulation, transcending logical reasoning and tapping directly into the heart. This strategy is evident in various settings, from personal relationships to advertising and politics. Emotional appeals are designed to bypass rational thought, engaging the audience's feelings and prompting immediate emotional responses. Storytelling and empathy. One effective method of emotional manipulation is storytelling. By weaving narratives that elicit empathy and compassion, manipulators can engender a strong emotional response that compels individuals to act in alignment with the manipulator's desires. For example, a manipulative salesperson may share a compelling story about how their product changed their life, nudging prospective buyers to feel emotionally invested in the purchase. Appeals to identity and values. Manipulators are adept at aligning their requests with the identities and values of their targets. By framing their demands in a way that resonates with an individual's self-concept, such as leveraging shared beliefs or communal identities, they can effectively persuade and coerce. This alignment creates a sense of connection that makes it difficult for individuals to refuse or resist, as they feel that to do so would be to betray their own values. Identifying emotional traps. The insidious nature of emotional manipulation means that recognizing such tactics can be challenging. However, there are identifiable signs and strategies individuals can employ to avoid falling prey to emotional traps. Recognizing red flags. 1. Inconsistency. Pay attention to behaviors that oscillate dramatically, such as alternating between affection and withdrawal. Such inconsistency is often a hallmark of manipulative tactics. 2. Overt guilt induction. Be wary of individuals who frequently frame themselves as victims or provoke guilt. This can be a telltale sign of someone trying to manipulate your emotions for their benefit. 3. Exploitation of vulnerabilities. If a person consistently targets your insecurities or fears as a means of gaining compliance, it's crucial to assess the overall relationship dynamic. Setting boundaries. Establishing and maintaining personal boundaries is vital in protecting oneself from emotional manipulation. Clear boundaries delineate what behaviors are tolerable and which are not, effectively safeguarding emotional health. Communicate assertively, expressing your needs and limits without succumbing to guilt or pressure. Cultivating emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence is key to recognizing and resisting manipulation. By becoming more attuned to your own emotions and those of others, you can better identify when emotional appeals are being used against you. This awareness fosters resilience, enabling you to engage with others on an emotional level without losing sight of your own autonomy. Seeking support. Finally, when faced with emotional manipulation, seeking support from trusted friends, family, or mental health professionals can provide clarity and guidance. An external perspective can help illuminate patterns that may be difficult to identify while under emotional duress. Emotional manipulation preys on the very qualities that make us human: our capacity for empathy, love, and connection. By understanding how manipulators exploit emotions, recognizing the power of emotional appeal, and equipping ourselves with strategies to identify and navigate emotional traps, we can shield ourselves against the pervasive influence of emotional control. In a world where emotions can easily be weaponized, developing awareness and resilience is not just advantageous. It is essential for maintaining healthy and authentic relationships. Chapter 6. Mental Manipulation, Rewriting Reality. In a world increasingly defined by information overload, the power of mental manipulation has never been more prominent. From the subtlety of everyday interactions to grand-scale media narratives, mind games exert a profound influence over our perceptions and realities. In this exploration of Chapter 6, we will delve into the psychological impact of these manipulations, the mechanisms of cognitive dissonance, and the devastating art of gaslighting. Mind games and their psychological impact. Mind games, in their many forms, are carefully orchestrated psychological maneuvers that aim to shape, influence, or distort an individual's perception of reality. These manipulations can manifest in personal relationships, workplaces, or broader societal contexts. At their core, mind games often exploit vulnerabilities in individual mental frameworks, such as insecurities, need for validation, and cognitive biases. The psychological impact of these games can be severe. Victims may experience diminished self-esteem, anxiety, and confusion as they grapple with conflicting messages and altered perceptions of self-worth or reality. In the workplace, for instance, a manager might employ mind games to create a sense of dependency, undermining an employee's confidence and fostering a culture of fear. In personal relationships, emotional manipulation can lead to a warped sense of reality, where individuals begin to question their feelings and thoughts, potentially resulting in trust issues and emotional distress. Cognitive dissonance and perception control. One of the central mechanisms behind mental manipulation is cognitive dissonance, a psychological phenomenon that arises when individuals hold conflicting beliefs or attitudes, leading to discomfort. Faced with this dissonance, individuals are motivated to restore harmony, often by rationalizing discrepancies or altering their beliefs to align with external influences. Perception control is closely tied to cognitive dissonance, as it involves shaping an individual's understanding of their environment and experiences. Manipulators may exploit cognitive dissonance by presenting information or scenarios that challenge a victim's established beliefs, creating a sense of confusion or doubt. This control is especially potent in environments where hierarchical power dynamics exist, where subordinates may feel pressure to conform to the views and narratives espoused by those in authority. Consider the example of political propaganda, where leaders might employ disinformation to induce cognitive dissonance in the populace. By promoting contradictory narratives, they can disorient the public, leading individuals to abandon their beliefs in favor of alternative, often more favorable, realities. The resulting distortion of truth not only protects the manipulator's agenda, but also reinforces their power over the collective narrative. The art of gaslighting. Among the most insidious forms of mental manipulation is gaslighting, a term that has gained traction in recent years to describe a specific type of psychological abuse that seeks to undermine an individual's perception of reality. The term derives its name from the 1944 film Gaslight, in which a husband manipulates his wife into doubting her own sanity by altering their environment and then denying any changes. Gaslighting operates on a layered framework, using persistent denial, misdirection, and undermining tactics to validate the manipulator's influence while sowing seeds of doubt in the victim. The psychological toll of gaslighting can be catastrophic, often leading to feelings of helplessness, confusion, and a shattered sense of self. In personal relationships, gaslighting can manifest through constant criticism or lying, making the victim feel as if they are imagining things or reacting irrationally. In broader contexts, such as political or social movements, gaslighting serves to invalidate opposition, dismiss dissenting voices, and reinforce the dominant narrative. The emotional scars left by gaslighting can leave individuals psychologically immobilized, unsure of their memories and feelings, and even detaching from their own identities. Chapter 6's exploration of mental manipulation reveals the complex interplay between psychological techniques and perception. Understanding mind games, cognitive dissonance, and gaslighting is crucial not only for recognizing these manipulative strategies, but also for fostering resilience against them. As we navigate a world filled with conflicting narratives and psychological challenges, building awareness of these mental manipulations can empower individuals to reclaim their perception of reality, defend their psychological boundaries, and ultimately rewrite their narratives in a way that affirms their authentic selves. Chapter 7: The Dark Art of Persuasion. In a world inundated with information, the art of persuasion serves as a critical tool for communication, negotiation, and influence. However, as is often the case with powerful tools, persuasion can veer into the realm of manipulation, a territory fraught with ethical dilemmas and consequences. This chapter delves into the nuanced distinctions between persuasion and manipulation, explores the techniques employed in dark persuasion, and offers insights on how to identify and guard against its insidious effects. Persuasion versus manipulation, the fine line. At its core, persuasion is an attempt to change someone's beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors through reasoned arguments or appeals to emotion. Ethical persuasion is characterized by transparency and respect for the autonomy of the individual. It aims for mutual benefit and fosters genuine understanding. Manipulation, on the other hand, involves an underhanded approach, often disregarding the other person's best interests. It employs deceit or exploitation to achieve an outcome that serves the manipulator's agenda. This fine line becomes increasingly blurred in contexts where emotional vulnerability, social pressure, or misinformation are present. Therefore, understanding the distinction between the two is vital in recognizing both ethical influence and unethical manipulation. Key differences: intent. Persuasion seeks to inform and engage. Manipulation seeks to exploit. Transparency. Ethical persuasion is open and honest. Manipulation thrives on deception. Outcome. Persuasion aims for mutual benefit. Manipulation focuses solely on the manipulator's gain. Techniques used in dark persuasion. Dark persuasion often employs specific techniques to manipulate individuals or groups. Here are some of the most common methods. 1. Fear appeals. This technique plays on a person's fears, presenting a potential threat to elicit a desired response. For instance, advertisements that showcase dangers can prompt consumers to buy security systems or insurance. 2. Emotional exploitation. Manipulators may exploit emotions, such as guilt, sympathy, or love, to coerce others into compliance. This technique often involves creating a false sense of indebtedness or urgency. 3. Social proof. By leveraging the behaviors or opinions of others, manipulators can influence individuals to conform. This method is particularly effective in group settings, where individuals may prioritize consensus over personal judgment. 4. Scarcity and urgency. Creating a sense of urgency, e.g., limited time offer, can pressure individuals into making hasty decisions without adequate consideration, leading to impulsive actions. 5. Gaslighting. This psychological manipulation technique involves making someone doubt their own perceptions or beliefs, so they become dependent on the manipulator for validation. 6. Obfuscation. This involves deliberately confusing or misinforming someone to obscure the truth, often making it difficult for them to make informed choices. Identifying and protecting against persuasive manipulation. With the rise of digital communication and marketing tactics, being able to identify manipulation is more crucial than ever. Here are some strategies for recognizing and defending against these practices. 1. Awareness. Cultivating awareness of common manipulation tactics is your first line of defense. Familiarize yourself with the techniques outlined above, and stay vigilant when engaging with persuasive content. 2. Critical thinking. Always question the motivations behind persuasive messages. Ask yourself, Who benefits from this information? What might be omitted? Engaging in critical analysis can help you sift through information and identify biases. 3. Emotional check. Pay attention to your emotional responses. If someone is appealing to your emotions excessively or inducing fear, pause and reassess the situation. Strong emotional reactions can cloud judgment. 4. Seek diverse perspectives. Discussing ideas with others or seeking additional viewpoints can help counter manipulation. Trusted friends or family can provide insight that you may have overlooked. 5. Verify information. In an age of misinformation, fact-checking should be a habit. Consult reliable sources to confirm the accuracy of claims before taking action. 6. Set boundaries. Establishing personal boundaries can protect you from potential manipulative practices. Know your thresholds for persuasion and practice assertiveness to uphold them. While the art of persuasion is an integral aspect of human interaction, it is essential to navigate its darker alleys judiciously. Understanding the distinctions between ethical persuasion and manipulative tactics equips individuals to engage with others with integrity while simultaneously safeguarding themselves from coercive influence. By practicing awareness and critical engagement, we can cultivate clearer communication and maintain our agency in a world increasingly defined by attempts at persuasion. Chapter 8. Psychological warfare in relationships. In intimate relationships, whether romantic or familial, psychological dynamics can often unravel in ways that are both subtle and devastating. Many individuals unwittingly engage in manipulative behaviors that can distort the fabric of trust and love, leading to emotional turmoil and psychological damage. Understanding how manipulation unfolds, identifying common behaviors, and recognizing the implications on mental health is crucial for anyone who seeks to foster healthier interpersonal connections. How manipulation unfolds in personal relationships. Manipulation in relationships often begins with a gradual shift in dynamics. Initially, individuals may perceive the behaviors as harmless or even caring, but as time progresses, these seemingly benign actions can morph into psychological tactics that exert control. Manipulation may manifest as emotional coercion, leading partners or family members to feel obligated to meet another's needs at the expense of their own. 4 primary methods often characterize manipulative behavior. 1. Gaslighting. This involves making someone doubt their perceptions, memories, or feelings. It can begin with small remarks that erode confidence and escalate to outright denial of more substantial experiences. The gaslighter seeks to gain power by making the other person feel unstable or insecure. 2. Silent treatment. Withholding communication is a common tactic. By ignoring or refusing to engage, one partner can manipulate the other into feeling guilty or anxious about their actions. This silence places the victim in a position of seeking validation, often leading to increased dependence on the manipulator for approval. 3. Guilt tripping. This method involves making someone feel responsible for the emotional state or happiness of another. Statements like, "If you really loved me, you would," are designed to trigger a sense of obligation, shifting the burden of responsibility onto the victim's shoulders. 4. Love bombing. Initially appearing as an overwhelming display of affection and attention, love bombing is often used by manipulators to establish control over their partner. Once emotional dependence is created, the same individual may withdraw love and support, cycling between extremes to maintain dominance. These tactics not only alter the relational dynamic, but can lead individuals to second-guess their decisions and feelings, fostering a toxic environment where genuine connection becomes increasingly rare. Common manipulative behaviors in romantic and familial settings. Manipulation can be pervasive in both romantic and familial relationships, and while the tactics may differ slightly, the underlying intent remains the same: control. Here are some common behaviors seen across these settings. 1. Jealousy inducement. One partner may deliberately provoke feelings of jealousy in another to exert control, often using rivals as leverage to maintain power. 2. Blame shifting. This behavior involves deflecting responsibility and placing blame on the other person. It prevents accountability and fosters an environment of confusion and frustration. 3. Over-exaggeration. Manipulators often amplify situations to elicit sympathy or support, painting themselves as the victim in circumstances where they bear equal or more responsibility. 4. Threats of withdrawal. In familial settings, a parent may threaten to withdraw love or support, especially during conflicts. This creates a cycle of fear and compliance, undermining the child's emotional autonomy. While these behaviors can be identified in many relationships, the specific impact varies based on the type of relationship and the emotional stakes involved. Psychological damage and recovery. The outcomes of sustained manipulation within close relationships can lead to severe psychological distress. Individuals may experience a range of issues, including anxiety, depression, and diminished self-esteem. This emotional burden often manifests in feelings of isolation and self-doubt, making it difficult to navigate future relationships or trust others. Recognizing the signs of psychological manipulation is the first step towards recovery. Individuals may benefit from therapy. Engaging with a mental health professional can provide a safe space to explore feelings, rebuild self-esteem, and develop coping strategies to address past trauma. Support groups. Connecting with others who have experienced similar circumstances can alleviate feelings of isolation and provide validation and understanding. Setting boundaries. Learning to set clear, healthy boundaries can empower individuals, making them less susceptible to manipulative tactics and fostering healthier interactions moving forward. Education. Understanding manipulative behaviors and their effects on mental health can equip individuals with tools to identify toxic patterns in relationships, both in themselves and others. Ultimately, while manipulation can inflict lasting psychological damage, recovery is possible. By fostering self-awareness and pursuing healthy relational frameworks, individuals can disentangle themselves from toxic dynamics and move towards more fulfilling connections characterized by respect, trust, and mutual support. In navigating the complex landscape of personal relationships, awareness of psychological warfare allows individuals to reclaim their narrative and cultivate strength and vulnerability. Recognizing the signs and addressing the impact of manipulation is the first step toward healing and building healthier connections in the future. Chapter 9. Power Dynamics and Manipulation. Manipulation is an insidious aspect of human interaction, often surfacing in contexts where power imbalances exist. It reflects a disparity in authority, influence, and control that can manifest across various environments, from workplaces to personal relationships. In this chapter, we explore how power dynamics foster manipulation, the psychological underpinnings of authority and submission, and examine case studies that illustrate manipulation within hierarchical structures. Power imbalances and their role in manipulation. Manipulation finds fertile ground in situations where power imbalances are prevalent. When one party holds more power than another, it creates conditions ripe for undue influence. In these scenarios, the more powerful individual may exploit their position to sway decisions, hijack conversations, or orchestrate outcomes to benefit themselves, often at the expense of the less powerful counterpart. The presence of authority can distort perception, leading those in submissive roles to question their own judgment. This can manifest as self-doubt or internal conflict, making them more susceptible to manipulation. For instance, a manager may manipulate an employee's performance evaluation process, using their authority to paint a skewed picture that serves personal interests. The inherent desire to maintain one's job security or avoid conflict can compel subordinates to comply with unreasonable demands or to overlook the manipulation entirely. Authority, control, and submission, a psychological perspective. The psychological constructs of authority and submission play crucial roles in shaping manipulative relationships. Authority often breeds a mindset where the person in power feels justified in their actions, regardless of their ethical implications. This can link to the concept of social dominance orientation, whereby individuals naturally adopt hierarchical positions, believing in their right to control others. Conversely, submission can arise from fear, loyalty, or a learned behavioral response. In many scenarios, individuals conditioned by previous experiences may feel compelled to conform to authority figures, fearing repercussions or alternatively, desiring validation. Psychological theories, such as the Milgram experiment, poignantly illustrate this dynamic. In a controlled setting, average individuals demonstrated an alarming willingness to carry out orders that conflicted with their moral compass when prompted by an authoritative figure. Such insights into authority and submission underline how vulnerability in hierarchies can be exploited for manipulative ends. This interplay invites further understanding of the conditions that enable such assertive control over others. Case studies of manipulation in hierarchical structures. Case study 1. The corporate dilemma. A notable example can be observed in corporate environments, where power dynamics are starkly evident. Imagine a scenario where a senior executive manipulates data to advance their position or secure funding for a failing project. By wielding their authority over data analysis and interpretation, the executive can create surface-level success and deceive stakeholders. Employees, aware of the manipulation yet hesitant to confront their superior, often remain silent, fearing the repercussions of dissent in a hierarchical organization. Case study 2. Educational institutions. In educational contexts, manipulation often occurs through the exploitation of authority by faculty members towards students. Consider a professor who uses their position to coerce students into completing personal tasks under the guise of academic obligation. Students, conditioned to respect authority figures, may comply out of fear of negative academic consequences or desire for favorable evaluations. The resulting dynamics not only perpetuate manipulation, but can also erode trust in educational systems. Case study 3. Political structures. Political environments often showcase extreme cases of manipulation driven by power dynamics. Political leaders may manipulate public opinion through misinformation, using their authority to shape narratives that justify controversial policies. The dynamic is paralleled at lower levels, where constituents may feel compelled to comply with partisan ideologies purely due to party leadership sway, rather than through individual discernment. The interplay of power dynamics and manipulation reveals much about the human condition and societal structures. By understanding how authority, control, and submission contribute to manipulation, we gain crucial insights into fostering healthier relationships, both personally and professionally. Addressing these dynamics requires a collective commitment to transparency, ethical behavior, and the empowerment of individuals at all levels. Through conscious awareness and action, we can tilt the power balance away from manipulation and toward authentic communication and mutual respect. Chapter 10. The media as a manipulation tool. In an era defined by rapid technological advancement and information overload, the media plays an increasingly complex role in society. From mass communication to advertising, the power wielded by media outlets is profound. In this chapter, we delve into how media serves as a tool for manipulation, examining its techniques, including subliminal messaging, psychological influence, and its crucial role in shaping public opinion. Manipulation in mass communication and advertising. The essence of media manipulation lies in its ability to shape perceptions and behaviors through carefully crafted messages. Mass communication, encompassing everything from news broadcasts to social media, operates on the premise that information can be strategically disseminated to evoke specific responses from audiences. Advertisers, in particular, have long recognized the potential for manipulation, utilizing psychological principles to craft advertisements that resonate deeply with consumers. For instance, the use of emotional appeals in advertising, such as nostalgia, fear, or humor, can steer consumer behavior more effectively than straightforward facts about a product. Brands like Coca-Cola and Apple have utilized these strategies masterfully, embedding themselves in cultural narratives that go far beyond their offerings. In essence, advertising transforms products into symbols of lifestyle and identity, crafting a narrative that consumers subconsciously buy into. Subliminal messaging and psychological influence. One of the more controversial techniques associated with media manipulation is subliminal messaging. This practice involves embedding messages within other media forms, such as flashes of text or images that are imperceptible to the conscious mind but can still influence behaviors and attitudes. The phenomenon gained notoriety in the 1950s after studies suggested that such messaging could increase sales of popcorn and Coca-Cola during movies. Although the efficacy of subliminal messages has been hotly debated, it nonetheless highlights the lengths to which advertisers and media creators will go to influence the audience. Moreover, the psychological principles driving media manipulation extend beyond subliminal messages. Concepts such as social proof, authority, and scarcity are integral to understanding how media affects decision-making. For instance, the portrayal of a product as a must-have item, especially when endorsed by a celebrity, leverages our inherent desire for social acceptance. By understanding these psychological triggers, media creators can craft content that resonates deeply with audiences, leading them to make decisions that align with the manipulative intent behind the messaging. The role of media in shaping public opinion. Perhaps the most significant impact of media manipulation is its ability to shape public opinion. In a democratic society, the media is often viewed as the fourth estate, tasked with holding power to account and providing citizens with the information necessary for informed decision-making. However, when media outlets prioritize sensationalism, bias, or partisan agendas, they can warp public perception in dangerous ways. Consider how news coverage of events can create a narrative that influences public sentiment. The framing of an issue, such as immigration, climate change, or healthcare, can lead to drastically different public responses based solely on how it is presented. Media bias, whether overt or subtle, can sway opinions and behavior frequently, guiding communities toward collective beliefs that may not always align with facts. Furthermore, in the age of social media, the rapid dissemination of information has led to echo chambers, wherein individuals consume only content that reinforces their existing beliefs. This phenomenon not only exacerbates polarization, but also demonstrates how media can manipulate public opinion by limiting exposure to diverse perspectives. As we unpack the intricate relationship between media and manipulation, it becomes evident that understanding these dynamics is crucial for navigating the contemporary information landscape. From advertising strategies that tap into our emotions to the role of subliminal messaging and the shaping of public opinion, media serves as a potent tool for influence. As consumers of media, we must cultivate a critical mindset, questioning the motives behind the information we receive and recognizing the powerful impact that media manipulation can have on our beliefs and behaviors. In an age where information is plentiful but discernment is scarce, our ability to sift through the noise and recognize manipulation will assure that we remain informed citizens in control of our beliefs and actions. Chapter 11. Political Manipulation, Controlling the Masses. Political manipulation is a time-honored technique that extends back through the annals of history, where leaders and regimes have skillfully employed various means to influence public perception and consolidate power. This chapter delves into the psychological underpinnings of political manipulation, examining how politicians utilize specific tactics to gain and maintain authority over the populace. The dynamics of political manipulation. At its core, political manipulation entails the strategic use of messaging and propaganda to cultivate a desired narrative and, often, to sway public opinion. Politicians recognize that to govern effectively, they must first gain not only the consent, but also the commitment of the governed. Rhetoric, emotional appeal, and misinformation are among the tools deployed to shape this consent. When a political leader speaks directly to the fears, hopes, and biases of the public, they leverage a psychological phenomenon known as the bandwagon effect, where individuals tend to align their opinions with the perceived majority. This tactic is particularly potent in election season, where rallying cries often amplify a candidate's appeal while simultaneously marginalizing dissent. In this way, politicians can create a perceived consensus that may not reflect the actual views of the population at large. Psychological techniques in propaganda and political messaging. The effectiveness of political manipulation can be deeply rooted in psychological strategies that exploit cognitive biases and emotional reactions. Here are a few common techniques used in modern political messaging. 1. Fear tactics. By highlighting threats, whether real or exaggerated, politicians can create a sense of urgency. For example, invoking the fear of crime or terrorism often results in the populace supporting more stringent security measures or accepting invasive policies that they might otherwise reject. 2. Emotional appeals. Political messages frequently rely on emotional resonance rather than rational arguments. By appealing to feelings such as nostalgia, anger, or pride, leaders can cultivate a strong bond with their constituents, enhancing loyalty and support. 3. Repetition and simplification. The mere exposure effect suggests that familiarity breeds comfort. Complicated issues are often distilled into simple slogans or phrases that can be easily remembered and repeated, embedding the politician's message into public discourse. 4. Scapegoating. Targeting a particular group as the source of societal problems has been a common tactic throughout history. By directing public anger or frustration toward a specific demographic, leaders can distract from other issues while uniting their supporters around a common enemy. 5. Information manipulation. Controlling the narrative often involves controlling the information available to the public. This can range from the selective dissemination of facts to outright falsehoods, all aimed at steering public perception in a desired direction. Historical examples of political manipulation. The manipulation of public sentiment is not a new phenomenon. It has been a critical factor in numerous historical events across the globe. The rise of Nazi Germany. One of the most egregious examples of political manipulation occurred during the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in the 1930s. The regime utilized propaganda to foster a sense of nationalistic pride while scapegoating the Jewish population and other minorities. Through state-controlled media, the Nazis disseminated an all-encompassing narrative that depicted Jews as the architects of Germany's woes, thereby consolidating public support for their discriminatory policies. McCarthyism in the United States. In the 1950s, Senator Joseph McCarthy leveraged the fear of communism to manipulate public sentiment, inciting paranoia and leading to a wave of political repression. His aggressive hunt for communist sympathizers in government and society was bolstered by sensational claims and unsubstantiated accusations, effectively creating an atmosphere of fear that facilitated widespread violation of civil liberties. The modern day. In contemporary politics, social media has expanded the reach and speed of manipulation, providing politicians with instantaneous feedback loops and platforms to circumvent traditional media. Disinformation campaigns, especially during significant electoral events, have grown alarmingly sophisticated, often exploiting algorithms to spread divisive content that polarizes opinions. Political manipulation remains a pertinent mechanism in the interplay between governing bodies and the citizenry. Understanding the psychological techniques employed helps unravel the complexities of modern political landscapes and emphasizes the need for critical engagement with political messaging. As citizens, remaining vigilant and informed is essential in resisting manipulation, advocating for transparency, and fostering a democratic environment where true dialogue can thrive. In a society shaped by information, those who wield it wisely hold significant power, bridging the chasm between authority and accountability in the modern age. Chapter 12. Cults and Group Manipulation. Cults have long been the subject of fascination and horror, often portrayed in popular culture as shadowy organizations exploiting vulnerable individuals. However, beneath this sensationalism lies a complex web of psychological manipulation intricately woven into the fabric of cultic membership. Understanding how manipulation operates within cults involves exploring mechanisms such as groupthink, brainwashing, and emotional control, concepts that play pivotal roles in maintaining control over members and fostering loyalty to leaders. How manipulation operates within cults. At the heart of cult manipulation is a series of techniques that exploit natural human tendencies toward conformity, belonging, and a search for meaning. Cult leaders often present themselves as charismatic and authoritative figures, promising salvation, enlightenment, or special knowledge. This mirroring of deep-seated human desires is the first step in a systematic process designed to recruit and retain members. A hallmark of cults is their use of thought reform tactics, which include isolation from outside influences, a focus on indoctrinating teachings, and the creation of a distinct in-group versus out-group mentality. Once individuals join a cult, they are typically subjected to a barrage of psychological pressure. Manipulation techniques may include excessive praise or criticism, public confessions, and emotional highs and lows that foster dependency on the group for validation and identity. Cults create an environment where dissent is discouraged and loyalty is rewarded, making it increasingly difficult for members to recognize the manipulative tactics at play. Groupthink, brainwashing, and emotional control in cult settings. Groupthink, a psychological phenomenon where the harmony of a group takes precedence over critical evaluation of alternative viewpoints, is a significant mechanism in cult settings. Members are often encouraged to prioritize the opinions and beliefs of the group above their own, resulting in a loss of individual thought and an unquestioning acceptance of the leader's directives. This phenomenon can lead to disastrous consequences, as critical thinking is stifled and dissenting voices are silenced. Brainwashing, while a term often associated with sensationalized portrayals of cults, is grounded in real psychological principles. It involves a process of intense psychological manipulation, often likened to an accelerated form of socialization. In cult environments, members experience a breakdown of their previous belief systems, which are replaced by the cult's doctrine. Techniques such as sensory deprivation, sleep deprivation, and various forms of coercive persuasion play a significant role in this process. The emotional control exerted by cults is often extreme, employing fear, guilt, and love bombing to keep members engaged and pacified. Another crucial aspect is the use of emotional control. Cults often manufacture crises or traumatic events to further bind members together, fostering a shared sense of urgency and dependency on the group. Members are led to believe that they cannot survive without the cult, that their salvation relies entirely on their allegiance to the leaders, and that any attempts to leave the group will result in dire consequences. This emotional manipulation creates a powerful bond between members and their leaders, further entrenching the cult's influence in their lives. Real-world cases of cult manipulation. Several real-world cases exemplify the troubling dynamics of cult manipulation. One of the most infamous is the People's Temple, led by Jim Jones. Operating in the 1970s, this cult portrayed itself as a haven for social justice, but ultimately led its members to a mass suicide in Jonestown, Guyana, after years of manipulation that involved isolation, emotional control, and a complete rewriting of personal identities. Another notable case is the Branch Davidians, led by David Koresh. The group's environmental manipulation, intense indoctrination, and strict lifestyle regulations culminated in a tragic standoff with federal agents in Waco, Texas, in 1993. Koresh's ability to convince his followers that they were living in an apocalyptic vision exemplifies the extreme levels of manipulation found in cults, as he exploited their fears and desires for belonging. More recently, the NXIVM organization was exposed for its cult-like practices under founder Keith Raniere. Members were drawn in through self-help courses, only to become ensnared in a web of emotional manipulation, exploitation, and branding rituals. The case highlights how contemporary cults can blend personal development with exploitative tactics, showcasing the multifaceted nature of cult manipulation. Cults represent an alarming intersection of human psychology and manipulation, illustrating the vulnerabilities that individuals can face in the pursuit of belonging and meaning. Understanding the mechanisms of groupthink, brainwashing, and emotional control is crucial, not only for recognizing cult dynamics, but also for fostering resilience against such manipulative strategies. As society continues to grapple with the ramifications of cults and their manipulative techniques, education and awareness remain our best defenses against falling into such dangerous psychological traps. Chapter 13. The Science of Mind Control. Understanding the psychological and neurological mechanisms behind influence. The concept of mind control has often been relegated to the realm of science fiction and conspiracy theories. However, an increasing body of research in psychology and neuroscience reveals that the tools and techniques used to influence human thought and behavior are grounded in empirical science. This article explores the psychological and neurological underpinnings of mind control, examining methods such as hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, while also addressing the ethical considerations surrounding these practices. The psychological and neurological basis of mind control. At its core, mind control encompasses techniques and strategies aimed at modifying an individual's beliefs, attitudes, thoughts, and behaviors. The psychology of persuasion offers valuable insights into how these changes can be achieved. Influential psychologist Robert Cialdini highlights key principles, including reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity, which play critical roles in influencing decisions. The application of these principles showcases the extent to which external variables can sway human cognition. Neurologically, mind control techniques target specific areas of the brain associated with decision-making, emotion, and reward. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI. Studies have shown that certain persuasive techniques can activate brain regions tied to pleasure and satisfaction, thereby reinforcing desired behavior. Understanding these connections can provide a framework for exploring how thoughts can be manipulated and redirected without overt coercion. Hypnosis, a gateway to suggestion. Hypnosis has long fascinated both the public and the scientific community as a method of inducing altered states of consciousness that can facilitate suggestion and influence. This technique involves guiding an individual into a relaxed state, where the mind becomes more open to suggestion. Research in this area suggests that while in a hypnotic state, individuals can exhibit changes in perception, memory, and even physical sensation. Clinical studies have shown that hypnosis can be beneficial in pain management, anxiety reduction, and even the treatment of certain psychological disorders. The exact mechanism is still under investigation, but some theories propose that hypnosis enhances receptivity to suggestions by altering the brain's processing pathways. However, while hypnosis can be a powerful tool, its effectiveness varies widely among individuals, and some remain entirely resistant to its influence. Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, rewiring thought patterns. Developed in the 1970s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, neurolinguistic programming, NLP, is another technique often linked with mind control. NLP posits that language and neurological processes are interconnected, and that by mastering the use of language, individuals can shape their internal experiences and behavior. Proponents of NLP suggest that it can be employed for personal development, therapeutic benefits, and even business success, facilitating better communication and understanding among individuals. However, despite its popularity, NLP has faced criticism regarding its scientific legitimacy and efficacy. While some studies suggest that certain NLP techniques can result in measurable changes, others find the lack of empirical evidence troubling. Ethical concerns surrounding mind control experimentation. The exploration of mind control techniques raises significant ethical considerations. The potential for manipulation poses risks, particularly when used for coercive purposes or without informed consent. Historical instances, such as mind control experiments conducted by government agencies, e.g., MKUltra, highlight the dangers of unethical experimentation, where individuals were subjected to unsanctioned psychological manipulations. Today, ethical guidelines in psychological research emphasize the necessity of consent, transparency, and the protection of participants from harm. Researchers and practitioners are increasingly aware of their responsibilities to uphold ethical standards when exploring the boundaries of mind control techniques. The societal implications of influential practices warrant critical evaluations concerning their appropriateness and the potential for misuse. The science of mind control, encompassing hypnosis, NLP, and other techniques, unveils a complex intersection of psychology and neuroscience. By understanding how these methods work, we can harness their potential for therapeutic and beneficial applications while remaining vigilant about the ethical dilemmas they may present. As our understanding deepens, the conversation around mind control will require ongoing scrutiny, ensuring the integrity of practice in the pursuit of influencing thought and behavior. Chapter 14: Psychological Manipulation in Sales and Marketing. In the fast-paced world of commerce, understanding the human psyche has become an integral part of sales and marketing strategies. Chapter 14 delves into the intricate ways advertisers and marketers exploit psychological vulnerabilities, utilizing persuasion tactics that can lead consumers to make impulsive decisions. The chapter also sheds light on ways individuals can protect themselves from these manipulative influences, fostering a more conscious approach to purchasing. How advertisers exploit psychological vulnerabilities. At the core of advertising lies a profound understanding of human emotions and behaviors. Advertisers are aware that consumers are not merely rational beings making decisions based on logic. Rather, they are influenced by a complex interplay of emotions, biases, and subconscious triggers. 1. Fear of missing out. FOMO, one of the most powerful psychological triggers, is the fear of missing out. Marketers often create a sense of urgency through limited-time offers or exclusive sales, compelling consumers to act quickly lest they miss a golden opportunity. This manipulation can lead to impulsive buying behaviors, as individuals rush to take advantage of what they perceive as a rare chance. 2. Social proof. People naturally seek validation from others, and marketers exploit this tendency through the use of social proof. When consumers see others endorsing a product or service, whether through testimonials, influencer partnerships, or user-generated content, they feel reassured that they are making the right choice. This phenomenon significantly influences purchasing behavior, often leading individuals to buy products they might not have considered otherwise. 3. Scarcity principle. The scarcity principle posits that people place a higher value on limited resources. Marketers often employ this tactic by making products appear scarce, creating the illusion that they are in high demand. This can lead consumers to act quickly, driven by a desire to possess something before it runs out. Persuasion tactics used in consumer manipulation. To further drive home their messages, marketers utilize a variety of sophisticated persuasion tactics. Understanding these techniques can empower consumers to make more informed decisions. 1. Anchoring effect. The anchoring effect occurs when individuals rely too heavily on the first piece of information they encounter. For instance, if a product is initially priced at $200 but is marked down to $150, the original price serves as an anchor, making the new price seem like an incredible bargain. This tactic can cause consumers to overlook the actual value of the item and focus solely on the perceived savings. 2. Reciprocity. The principle of reciprocity suggests that people feel obligated to return favors. Marketers often leverage this by offering free samples, trials, or valuable content, creating a sense of indebtedness that encourages consumers to make a purchase. This can be a subtle yet powerful way to manipulate consumer behavior. 3. Emotional branding. Companies invest in building emotional connections with their audience through storytelling and branding. By evoking emotions such as nostalgia, happiness, or even sadness, marketers can create a strong bond between consumers and their products. When individuals associate positive feelings with a brand, they're more likely to make purchases based on those emotions rather than logical considerations. Protecting oneself from marketing influence. While understanding psychological manipulation in sales is crucial, it is equally important for consumers to develop strategies to guard against such influences. Here are some effective tactics for protection. 1. Awareness and education. The first step in protecting oneself from marketing manipulation is to be aware of it. By understanding common psychological tactics, consumers can remain vigilant and resist impulse buying triggered by these strategies. 2. Mindful decision-making. Before making a purchase, individuals can implement a cooling-off period. This involves taking time to evaluate whether they genuinely need the product or if they are being influenced by external factors. Techniques such as making a list of desired items or practicing delayed gratification can enhance mindful decision-making. 3. Scrutinizing marketing messages. Consumers should critically evaluate marketing messages rather than accepting them at face value. Analyzing claims and comparing products or prices across different brands can help individuals make better informed choices, reducing susceptibility to persuasive tactics. 4. Seeking third-party opinions. Sometimes, consulting reviews or seeking opinions from trusted friends or family members can provide valuable insight and help counteract emotional biases that marketers exploit. Chapter 14 highlights the intricate and often manipulative relationship between psychological principles and marketing strategies. While understanding these tactics can illuminate the forces that shape consumer behavior, awareness alone is not enough. Cultivating a critical mindset and practicing mindful purchasing habits can empower individuals to resist manipulation, fostering a healthier, more informed approach to consumerism in an increasingly psychological world. Chapter 15: Digital Manipulation. Social media's psychological traps. In an age where the digital landscape shapes much of our social interaction and information consumption, understanding the methods of digital manipulation utilized by social media platforms has become increasingly critical. This chapter delves into the techniques that these platforms employ to captivate users, the addictive designs that ensnare attention, and how they exploit user behavior for profit. Manipulation techniques used by social media platforms. Social media platforms are designed with complex algorithms and behavioral psychology at their core. Attracting and retaining users is not a mere byproduct of their functionality. It is an explicit goal. Here are some prominent manipulation techniques employed. 1. Optimal timing. Social media algorithms analyze user patterns to post content at optimal times, ensuring maximum engagement. This technique fosters a constant flow of notifications and updates, keeping users returning for more. 2. Variable reward systems. Drawing from principles of operant conditioning, platforms like Instagram and Twitter utilize a variable reward system where users receive unpredictable reinforcement through likes, shares, or comments. This unpredictability can lead to addictive behaviors as users continually seek the next hit of validation. 3. Fear of missing out. FOMO. By showcasing trending posts, stories, and live updates, social media capitalizes on FOMO. Users are left in a constant state of wanting to stay updated on what their peers are doing, pulling them deeper into the social media rabbit hole. 4. Social validation. Platforms thrive on social affirmations, where likes and comments serve as a form of validation. This leads to users curating highly edited versions of their lives for approval, which can impact self-esteem and mental well-being. 5. Echo chambers and filter bubbles. By curating content based on user behavior and preferences, social media platforms create echo chambers that reinforce existing beliefs and opinions. This not only affects users' perceptions of reality, but also makes them more susceptible to disinformation. The addictive design and psychological impact of social media. The design of social media platforms is inherently addictive, employing various psychological principles to keep users engaged perpetually. Features such as infinite scrolling, autopilot notifications, and autoplay videos are specifically crafted to minimize friction and maximize compulsive usage. Infinite scrolling. The implementation of infinite scrolling capitalizes on users' desire for seamlessness. The lack of defined stopping points creates an experience akin to gambling. Users lose track of time, often spending hours online. Research shows that this design can lead to decreased productivity and increased anxiety as users grapple with the overwhelming nature of endless content. Mental health consequences. The psychological impact of extensive social media usage is profound. Studies have indicated correlations between high social media consumption and issues such as anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. The pressure to curate a perfect online persona can lead to feelings of inadequacy and social isolation. Furthermore, witnessing the highlight reels of others' lives can distort reality, often leading to self-comparison and dissatisfaction. How social media exploits users' behavior. Social media platforms are not just passive environments. They are dynamic systems that actively exploit user behavior for financial gain. This, combined with the lack of transparency in data usage, poses ethical concerns regarding privacy and user agency. Data harvesting and targeted advertising. Every interaction on social media platforms, be it a like, share, comment, or even a simple scroll, is tracked and analyzed. This data harvesting allows for highly targeted advertising, catered specifically to users' preferences, behaviors, and demographics. Consequently, users might find themselves unwitting participants in a commercial ecosystem that continuously influences their purchasing behaviors and habits. User-driven content creation. Social media platforms often encourage user-driven content creation, transforming users into both consumers and creators. While this democratizes content sharing, it also leads to exploitation. Rather than compensating users for their creative outputs, platforms often profit from user-generated content without sharing the financial benefits. As we navigate the complexities of social media, it is essential to recognize the manipulation techniques at play and their psychological ramifications. Understanding how these platforms exploit innate human behaviors can help users take control of their digital experiences. By fostering awareness, users can make more informed decisions about their engagement with social media, minimizing its detrimental impacts and preserving their mental well-being. The digital world offers immense potential for connection and creativity, yet its pitfalls demand vigilance and responsibility in this new era of virtual social interaction. Chapter 16: Gaslighting, Warping Perception and Reality. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation, a tactic that distorts the truth and reshapes reality to undermine a person's perception of their own experiences. Coined from the 1944 film Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into questioning her sanity, the term has transcended its cinematic origins to describe a pervasive behavior found in interpersonal relationships, workplaces, and even political arenas. This chapter explores the psychological mechanisms behind gaslighting, the profound and lasting effects it has on victims, and strategies for recognizing and combating this harmful manipulation. The psychological mechanism of gaslighting. At its core, gaslighting is a manipulation strategy that seeks to destabilize an individual's sense of self and their reality. It often starts subtly, with the abuser denying previous events or conversations, twisting facts, or misrepresenting the truth. Over time, these tactics contribute to significant cognitive dissonance within the victim. The gap between their understanding of reality and what they are being told can be so profound that it leads them to question their memory, perception, and even their sanity. One powerful psychological mechanism at play in gaslighting is cognitive bias. Victims may begin to exhibit confirmation bias. They start to look for evidence that aligns with what the gaslighter is saying, even if it fundamentally contradicts their lived experiences. This creates a feedback loop where the victim's reality is systematically dismantled and replaced with the gaslighter's narrative. Moreover, gaslighting often exploits a victim's attachment system. For instance, if the manipulator is someone close, such as a partner, parent, or friend, the victim may endure the abuse in hopes of preserving the relationship. This emotional dependency can render dignified reasoning ineffective as the victim prioritizes the relationship over their mental well-being. Long-term psychological effects on victims. The long-term effects of gaslighting can be devastating. Victims may experience a variety of psychological ailments, including, but not limited to, 1. Anxiety and depression. Constantly questioning their reality can lead to chronic anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, and a pervasive sense of hopelessness. The belief that they are going crazy can spiral into clinical depression. 2. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Many victims may develop PTSD symptoms, including flashbacks, nightmares, and hypervigilance. The trauma of their experience can lead to ongoing distress long after the gaslighting has stopped. 3. Low self-esteem. Gaslighting can erode one's self-worth. Victims may feel unworthy, ashamed, or guilt-ridden, believing they are responsible for the manipulation they've endured. 4. Difficulty trusting others. After experiencing gaslighting, victims may find it hard to trust others again. The fear of being manipulated can create barriers in forming new relationships, or might cause them to withdraw from their existing support systems. 5. Cognitive dissonance. Victims may continue to rationalize the gaslighter's behavior or feel empathy for them, further complicating their recovery. This internal struggle can prolong the healing process and keep them tied to their abuser. Recognizing and combating gaslighting. Recognizing gaslighting can be challenging, especially when it is subtle and pervasive. However, certain signs can alert individuals to this manipulation. Frequent disagreements. If you often find yourself in arguments about your memories or perceptions, it may be a sign of gaslighting. Questioning your sanity. If you frequently feel confused or in doubt about your experiences or perceptions, it's worth considering whether you are being gaslit. Feeling isolated. Gaslighters often isolate their victims from others to maintain control. If you feel cut off from friends or family, it could be a sign. Feeling defeated or weak. Regularly feeling like you cannot do anything right or are constantly caught in a cycle of apologizing may indicate an unhealthy dynamic. To combat gaslighting, consider the following strategies. 1. Document your experiences. Keeping a journal of events can help reinforce your reality. Writing down your thoughts and feelings creates an objective account of your experiences. 2. Seek support. Engage with friends, family, or mental health professionals who can help validate your feelings and experiences. This external perspective can reinforce your understanding of reality. 3. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with individuals who exhibit gaslighting behavior. Be assertive in stating what is acceptable and what is not. 4. Educate yourself. Understanding gaslighting tactics can empower you to recognize them in real time. The more informed you are, the more equipped you will be to challenge the manipulation. 5. Practice self-compassion. Healing from the effects of gaslighting takes time. Be patient with yourself and recognize that recovering your sense of self and reality is a journey. Gaslighting is a dangerous psychological weapon that distorts perception and reality, leaving deep-seated scars on its victims. It is essential to recognize when gaslighting is occurring and to seek help through supportive networks and professional guidance. By understanding the mechanisms of gaslighting and its effects on mental health, individuals can reclaim their perceptions and navigate toward a brighter, more authentic reality. Chapter 17. Machiavellianism, the Manipulator's Blueprint. Machiavellianism, a term derived from the political philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli, is often used to describe a genuine means of manipulation and deceit in social interactions. In this exploration of the Machiavellian mindset, we will delve into how this mindset underpins manipulative behaviors, identify the defining traits and behaviors of Machiavellian manipulators, and examine various case studies and real-world examples to illustrate these concepts in action. The Machiavellian mindset and its role in manipulation. At its core, Machiavellianism is characterized by a cunning, strategic approach to achieving one's goals. Individuals with a Machiavellian mindset often prioritize their own self-interests above ethical considerations, using manipulation as a tool to gain power and control. They view social interactions through a lens of competition, often treating relationships merely as means to an end. This worldview leads to a willingness to engage in deceit, emotional exploitation, and strategies that undermine trust and cooperation among peers. The Machiavellian mindset is often described as pragmatic and results-oriented. Those who embody it tend to craft calculated plans, consider the possible responses of rivals or targets, and employ strategic moves that create advantageous positions. In a world where cooperation and authenticity are often valued, Machiavellians may find themselves at odds with more altruistic counterparts, but they are typically undeterred and relentless in their quest for success. Traits and behaviors of Machiavellian manipulators. Machiavellian manipulators often exhibit a unique combination of traits that enable their effectiveness in manipulation. Some of the most notable traits include: 1. Deceitfulness and dishonesty. Machiavellians frequently engage in lying, exaggeration, or withholding information to manipulate others. Their capacity for dishonesty is often seen as a fundamental tool in their arsenal. 2. Emotional intelligence. While their intentions may be malicious, Machiavellian manipulators often possess high emotional intelligence. They can read social cues and accurately assess the emotions of others, allowing them to exploit emotional vulnerabilities. 3. Low conscience and morality. A hallmark of Machiavellian behavior is a lack of empathy and guilt. This absence allows individuals to engage in manipulative practices without being deterred by moral considerations. 4. Social dominance. Many Machiavellians display a strong desire for control and power over others. They are often competitive and seek to position themselves as leaders in both personal and professional environments. 5. Strategic planning and long-term thinking. Manipulators often think several steps ahead, allowing them to craft complex schemes that may take time to unfold. Their ability to delay gratification and maintain patience is crucial to the success of their plans. Case studies and real-world examples. Case study 1. Corporate machination. In the corporate world, the archetype of the Machiavellian manipulator can be observed in high-stakes office politics. Consider a scenario involving a cutthroat middle manager, Alex, who seeks promotion at the expense of a colleague. Alex engages in subtle smear campaigns, spreading misleading rumors about a peer's performance while presenting themselves as a model employee. By leveraging their emotional intelligence, Alex anticipates the reactions of colleagues and crafts alliances that serve their ambitions, all while maintaining a facade of professionalism. This Machiavellian approach ultimately results in the undermining of the colleague and the achievement of Alex's goal, a promotion. Case study 2. Political manipulators. Political spheres are rife with Machiavellian figures who manipulate public perception for personal gain. One such example is a political candidate strategically using misinformation to discredit an opponent. By carefully curating campaigns filled with half-truths and exaggerations, this candidate aims to shift public opinion and gain electoral favor. Features of the Machiavellian mindset are exemplified through the political landscape, where winning often eclipses the principles of honesty and integrity. Case Study 3: Relationships and Personal Manipulation. In personal relationships, Machiavellian manipulation can lead to toxic dynamics. Imagine someone, Sam, who uses charm and flattery to win over a partner. Once trust is established, Sam subtly begins to exert control, gaslighting their partner to create dependence. By manipulating emotions, such as jealousy or insecurity, Sam can maintain power in the relationship, showcasing how Machiavellian tactics manifest in intimate settings. Machiavellianism serves as a powerful blueprint for manipulation, driven by cunning, emotional intelligence, and an unyielding desire for dominance. Recognizing the traits and behaviors of Machiavellian manipulators allows individuals to empower themselves against coercion and deceit. Understanding the principles highlighted in this chapter can foster greater awareness of the subtle strategies employed by manipulators, equipping individuals to navigate their personal and professional lives with vigilance and insight. As we conclude our exploration of Machiavellianism, it is essential to remember that awareness is the first step toward fostering more authentic and trust-based relationships in an increasingly complex world. Chapter 18: Psychological Resistance. Defending against manipulation. In an increasingly complex and interconnected world, individuals are often subjected to various forms of psychological manipulation, whether in personal relationships or professional environments. Understanding and defending against manipulation is essential for maintaining mental and emotional well-being. Chapter 18 delves into the crucial concept of psychological resistance, exploring methods for building resilience, recognizing manipulation, and employing effective self-protection strategies. Building mental and emotional resilience. The foundation of psychological resistance lies in mental and emotional resilience. This resilience enables individuals to withstand the pressures and influences of those who seek to manipulate them. Building this resilience involves several key practices. 1. Self-awareness. Gaining a clear understanding of one's emotions, triggers, and responses is vital. Regular reflection and mindfulness can help individuals recognize when they are being influenced. 2. Emotional regulation. Developing the ability to manage one's emotional responses is essential. Techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, and journaling can aid in fostering emotional stability, allowing individuals to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. 3. Positive self-talk. Countering negative thoughts with affirmations can strengthen self-belief and reduce susceptibility to external manipulation. Positive self-talk empowers individuals to assert their needs and boundaries assertively. 4. Support networks. Building a strong social support system provides a buffer against manipulative behaviors. Friends, family, and professional mentors can offer perspectives that might prevent someone from falling prey to manipulation. 5. Continuous learning. Engaging in lifelong learning not only enhances one's knowledge and skills, but also fosters a sense of competence and agency, reducing vulnerability to manipulation. Strategies to recognize and counter manipulation. Recognizing manipulation is the first step toward countering it. By honing specific skills, individuals can better identify when they are being influenced underhandedly. 1. Critical thinking. Developing strong analytical skills enables individuals to assess information critically. Asking questions like, "Why is this person saying this?" or "What do they stand to gain?" can help reveal ulterior motives. 2. Emotional awareness. Understanding the emotional tactics often used in manipulation, such as guilt or fear, helps to identify when these tactics are being employed. Recognizing the source of one's emotions can reduce their power. 3. Setting boundaries. A clear understanding of personal boundaries is essential. Individuals should articulate their limits and be prepared to assert them firmly when someone crosses those lines. 4. Assertive communication. Learning to communicate needs and feelings assertively can diminish the likelihood of being manipulated. Phrases like, "I feel" followed by a specific need or boundary can help convey one's standpoint clearly and respectfully. 5. Looking for inconsistencies. Manipulative behavior often involves contradictions or inconsistencies in a person's statements or actions. Being alert to these discrepancies can reveal manipulative intentions. Tools for self-protection in personal and professional settings. Self-protection is about creating an environment where one can thrive without falling victim to manipulation. Here are practical tools for effective self-defense. 1. Journaling. Keeping a record of daily interactions can clarify patterns or repeated manipulative behaviors. A journal can serve as a sanctuary for thoughts and as a tool for self-reflection. 2. Role-playing scenarios. Practicing responses to manipulative tactics with trusted friends or family can prepare someone for real-life situations. This rehearsal can boost confidence and effectiveness in handling manipulation. 3. Educative resources. Books, workshops, and online resources on emotional intelligence, manipulation tactics, and assertiveness training provide valuable insights and strategies for defense. 4. Mindfulness practices. Engaging in regular mindfulness practices such as meditation and yoga can enhance one's ability to remain grounded amidst chaos, reducing psychological susceptibility. 5. Professional guidance. In cases of persistent manipulation, enlisting the support of a therapist or coach can provide tailored strategies and deeper emotional work to fortify one's defenses. Chapter 18. Psychological resistance. Defending against manipulation emphasizes the importance of safeguarding oneself in a world where psychological manipulation can be subtle yet pervasive. By building mental and emotional resilience, employing strategies to recognize manipulation, and utilizing effective self-protection tools, individuals can cultivate a robust psychological resistance that empowers them to navigate personal and professional relationships with confidence and integrity. The journey towards psychological resilience is ongoing, but with commitment and awareness, the ability to counter manipulation enhances one's overall quality of life. Chapter 19. Ethics of manipulation. When is it justified? Manipulation is a term charged with negative connotations, often evoking images of deceit, coercion, and exploitation. However, the ethics of manipulation are complex and multifaceted, inviting a critical examination of when, if ever, it can be deemed justifiable. This chapter delves into the moral and ethical boundaries of manipulation, examines specific scenarios where it may be considered ethical, and explores various philosophical perspectives that illuminate our understanding of this nuanced subject. The moral and ethical boundaries of manipulation. At its core, manipulation involves exerting influence over others, often to achieve a desired outcome without their full awareness or consent. This raises significant ethical questions, as it challenges the autonomy of individuals and their ability to make informed choices. The moral landscape surrounding manipulation emphasizes respect for personal agency, honesty, and transparency. To define moral boundaries around manipulation, we must consider several key components. 1. Intent. The intention behind manipulation can heavily influence its ethical standing. If the goal is to promote harm or exploit vulnerabilities, the act is likely viewed as unethical. Conversely, if the intention is altruistic or geared towards benefiting individuals or communities, the manipulation may warrant different ethical considerations. 2. Deception. Manipulation often relies on some level of deceit. Ethical frameworks generally prioritize truthfulness and honesty. Therefore, any form of manipulation that involves misleading information is typically seen as crossing ethical boundaries. 3. Consequences. The outcomes of manipulative actions should also be assessed. Acts that lead to significant harm or unintended negative consequences for individuals or society are deemed unethical. In contrast, manipulation that results in positive outcomes may be considered justifiable under certain conditions. 4. Autonomy. A critical aspect of ethical manipulation is the respect for individual autonomy. Manipulative actions that infringe upon a person's ability to make independent decisions tend to be viewed as unethical, particularly in circumstances where individuals are vulnerable or lack sufficient information. The challenge lies in navigating these boundaries, It prompts a wide array of inquiries into how one can balance the intent, truthfulness, outcomes, and respect for autonomy when engaging in manipulative behaviors. Situations where manipulation may be considered ethical. Despite the potential pitfalls of manipulation, there are specific scenarios where it may be ethically permissible or even necessary. These situations often exist in high-stakes environments where well-being and safety are prioritized. Some illustrative cases include 1. Psychological interventions. In therapeutic contexts, counselors or psychologists may employ manipulative techniques to guide clients toward healthier behaviors and thought patterns. For instance, gently framing feedback or reshaping narratives can empower clients to confront difficult realities without causing overwhelming distress, thereby promoting mental well-being. 2. Public health campaigns. Manipulative tactics can be a tool for public health initiatives, where the objective is societal welfare. Campaigns that encourage vaccinations or health screenings may employ persuasive messaging that nudges individuals toward actions that protect the health of the community, which, although manipulative, can be justified when aimed at maximizing collective benefits. 3. Marketing and consumer behavior. In the realm of marketing, some degree of manipulation is inherent as companies seek to influence consumer decisions. While transparency in advertising is crucial, marketing strategies that highlight product benefits and emotional connections may be considered ethical when they lead to informed consumer choices rather than deceitful practices. 4. Crisis situations. In emergency contexts, leaders may need to manipulate information or perceptions to maintain order and ensure safety. Here, manipulation becomes a means to prevent panic or chaos, thereby potentially justifying actions that might be considered unethical in more stable circumstances. Philosophical perspectives on manipulation. Examining the ethics of manipulation through various philosophical lenses can yield deeper insights into its moral standing. 1. Utilitarianism. From a utilitarian perspective, the consequences of manipulation take center stage. If the manipulation results in the greatest good for the greatest number, it may be deemed ethically acceptable. This framework justifies manipulation when it serves to mitigate harm or enhance overall welfare. 2. Deontological ethics. Contrarily, deontological perspectives anchor themselves in the inherent morality of actions rather than their consequences. This approach may argue against manipulation as it conflicts with the duty to respect individual autonomy and honesty. According to this view, manipulation is typically unethical, regardless of the outcomes it may produce. 3. Virtue ethics. Virtue ethics shifts the focus to the character of the individual engaging in manipulation. If manipulation emerges from a place of compassion and aims at uplifting others, it may be considered virtuous, suggesting that the moral character of the manipulator is crucial in determining the ethics of the action. 4. Social contract theory. The lens of social contract theory posits that society operates on agreements governing behavior and trust. Manipulating others breaches this implicit contract, as it undermines the trust necessary for social cohesion. Thus, from this perspective, manipulation is often seen as a violation of ethical norms. The ethics of manipulation raise challenging questions about morality, intent, and autonomy. Although manipulation is often viewed negatively, situations exist where it may be justified, particularly when aimed at promoting well-being or protecting individuals from harm. As we navigate the moral landscape of manipulation, it becomes clear that a nuanced understanding grounded in ethical principles and philosophical perspectives is essential for discerning right from wrong in this intricate realm. Ultimately, the ethical evaluation of manipulation hinges on intent, consequences, and the respect afforded to individual autonomy, highlighting both the perils and potentialities of this complex human behavior. Chapter 20. Conclusion. Navigating the Manipulation Enigma. As we reach the culmination of our exploration into the intricate world of manipulation, it is essential to distill the key lessons we've learned throughout this journey. Understanding manipulation, its nuances, tactics, and repercussions, equips us with tools to navigate a world rife with persuasive influences. In this concluding chapter, we will summarize the key takeaways, encourage self-awareness and critical thinking, and reflect on the broader implications of forbidden psychology. Summary of key takeaways. 1. Recognizing manipulation. One of the primary lessons we have explored is the importance of recognizing manipulation in various contexts, be it in personal relationships, marketing strategies, or political rhetoric. Manipulation often wears a mask of persuasion, which can lead to ethical dilemmas and power imbalances. 2. Techniques and tactics. We have discussed various techniques employed by manipulators, such as emotional appeals, social proof, and the use of cognitive biases. Understanding these tactics allows us to identify when they are being used against us, fostering a proactive stance rather than a reactive one. 3. The psychological roots. The psychological principles underpinning manipulation, such as conformity, authority, and reciprocity, reveal profound insights about human behavior. These principles underscore the thin line between influence and coercion, shaping how we interact with others and make decisions. 4. Vulnerability and resilience. Awareness of our own vulnerabilities is crucial. We have examined how factors like cognitive overload, emotional distress, and societal pressures can render individuals susceptible to manipulation. Building resilience through self-awareness and psychological fortitude empowers us to withstand external pressures. 5. Ethics of influence. The exploration of forbidden psychology highlights an ethical dimension to manipulation. While understanding these principles can enhance our personal and professional effectiveness, it is paramount to wield this knowledge responsibly, bearing in mind the potential consequences on individuals and society. Encouraging self-awareness and critical thinking. To navigate the manipulation enigma, self-awareness and critical thinking are indispensable tools. Developing self-awareness involves reflecting on our emotional triggers, biases, and vulnerabilities. By questioning our motivations and responses, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves, which is the first step toward resisting manipulation. Critical thinking complements self-awareness by equipping us with analytical skills to assess information critically. It encourages us to question sources, recognize logical fallacies, and evaluate the intention behind persuasive communications. By fostering an inquisitive mindset, we become more adept at discerning manipulation from genuine influence. Engaging in dialogues that challenge our perspectives, seeking diverse viewpoints, and remaining open to constructive criticism further enhances our critical thinking abilities. As we refine these skills, we prepare ourselves to navigate both interpersonal interactions and the vast media landscape that bombards us with persuasive messages daily. Final thoughts on forbidden psychology and its impact on society. The fascination with forbidden psychology lies in its duality. It offers both a lens into the darker aspects of human interaction and a pathway to empowerment through knowledge. As we acknowledge the existence of manipulation in various forms, we must also recognize its potential for misuse. The ethical considerations surrounding the application of psychological principles must remain at the forefront of our discussions. In a society increasingly dominated by technology, social media, and ubiquitous messaging, the implications of manipulation are far-reaching. Understanding the mechanics of influence is not just a personal endeavor, it is a societal imperative. As individuals become more aware of manipulation tactics, there is potential for a collective shift toward ethical communication and more balanced relationships. Ultimately, navigating the manipulation enigma requires an ongoing commitment to self-awareness, ethical responsibility, and critical inquiry. By approaching our interactions with intention and discernment, we can cultivate an environment where influence is grounded in authenticity and respect, paving the way for healthier, more constructive engagement in all areas of life. As we close this chapter, let it serve as a call to action, to wield the knowledge of manipulation wisely and to foster a society that values transparency, understanding, and compassion in every interaction. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.